So, get this right. Today, my therapist told me that I have a tendency to catastrophize things. So, therapy's been a fucking disaster. When I was 5 years old, my grandma decided that it was time for me to learn about death. So, she gave me a goldfish. And then, while I was distracted, executed Grandpa. When I was a kid, I used to lie down at night and look up at the stars and think, man, it would be nice to live indoors. Now, I joined the army, but I left after my entire squadron died. Guess I'm not cut out to be a cook. People tell me that I'm delusional. I say, that's no way to address Australia's first black Governor-General. My elderly father tells me he's been doing 10,000 steps a day. I'm still not giving the car back. My sister has a speech impediment. It's difficult for her to pronounce F and S sounds. I think she's doing well, but it's hard to say for sure. So... I haven't been doing stand-up comedy much recently. I've just been a bit too happy. It's great to be back. This bit's true. One time I was in the city and I was talking to a protester. The protester said, "Did you know that your shoes are made by child labor?" I said, "No, I did not." He said, "Do you have kids yourself?" I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "Well, imagine if it was your kids making shoes." And that's the story of how I started a shoe company. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being here tonight. As you can see, we're filming, but don't worry, you're safe. You're not on camera, and I won't talk to you unless you talk to me first. Please don't talk to me first. And to answer your question, yes, the whole show is just like this. And to address your comment, you're right. I do keep it tight. Thank you for noticing. And you see, the reasons for that are manifold. Talk to me.
Hello, this is Lorne Michaels, celebrated television producer, best known as the creator of sketch comedy show Saturday Night Live.
Wow. Hello, Lorne Michaels.
Listen, I'm afraid we have a situation. But first, we've been watching your show, and let me just say, son, you keep it tight.
Thank you, sir. You too, sir.
Joe, I need to impress upon you something of great significance. This show that you're performing in right now, it may just be the most important thing that's ever happened, anywhere, ever.
Now, that has always been my instinct too, but how so specifically, sir?
The Power Tower is watching.
What's the Power Tower?
It's a meeting of the world's most powerful people. World leaders, royalty, magnates, and Hogsy Malone, the card-counting bush pig.
Who?
Once a year, we gather together to discuss the management of humanity for 1 hour.
In a tower?
Not anymore.
Maybe you should change it to the Power Hour then.
Oh, yes, that's a good idea.
Yes, but our logo has the letters TPT, so it would be good if the new name could also fit those letters. Listen, your show, we've been watching.
How?
We see everything.
All right, settle down.
We've decided that if your show does well tonight, then there will be peace on Earth, now and forever. Everything will be great for everyone, but only if your show goes really, really well.
What about the Power Troop? That's TPT.
Please, Joe. Humanity is at stake.
Well, Fret... God, that's good. Fret your tawny scalp no further, Lorne Michaels, because I've got some more one-liners that'll really open this baby up.
It's not that simple. It's the Russians. Want to see sketch comedy.
Oh, dear God.
I'm afraid so. They're big into sketch. They want to see some wacky bits like they do on Kinetsetkovsky and Pilin Milkovich. Talking silly characters. Props.
You can't be serious.
If you don't do this, billions of lives will be lost.
No,
What?
I don't want to.
Son, listen. Once in a generation, a person is chosen. A hero called to something greater.
The other day, my friend told me that I am a pathological liar. Thanks, guys. My friend told me that I am a pathological liar. I said, man, you sound just like my dad, Obama. My ex-girlfriend was a doctor. But one day she upped and disappeared in the middle of the night. I'd love to know why, but couldn't read her note. I believe that human sacrifice is a deeply immoral practice. Obviously. That said, I can't deny the harvest has been fantastic this year. I was visiting my grandma once, not the one that whacked Grandpa near a goldfish, the other one. I was visiting my grandma once, and she said to me, Joe, remember, there is more to life than money. I thought, you know what? She's right. So I stopped visiting. My partner and I are minimalists. That means that if we don't truly love or need something, we get rid of it. It's an ethos we've been trying to pass on to our 3 children. 2 children. The other day I was headed out the door. My girlfriend said, where are you going? I said, me and the boys are going go-karting. Yeah, there's never a dull moment when you have multiple personality disorder. This bit's true. I read an article recently about how children can struggle to distinguish the TV they watch from reality. Fortunately for me, I guess, I never had that problem because I grew up living in a van, solving mysteries with a talking dog. Don't, you shouldn't be paying this much attention. Last year, I raised the rent on my investment property and made the family of 4 living in there homeless. I now know that that's wrong. You're supposed to say unhoused. The other day I was in the city and this guy was selling horse rides. So I thought, sure, why not? So I'm riding this horse through the city when suddenly the horse got startled and I lost control and rode into a crowd of protesters. Police charged me with impersonating an officer. Just the other day, Meghan Markle and I were making sushi for John Voight's baptism when 12 hippos blasted...
Joe,
Lorne, where are you?
I'm communicating with you from this photograph of Quentin Bryce. I'm projecting my consciousness into this photograph of Quentin Bryce.
That's clunky writing.
Listen, we lost Denmark.
What?
Denmark has been destroyed. 6 million very happy people gone.
Because I didn't do a sketch.
These world leaders are animals. There's only one thing that can satiate their power-crazed minds. Sketch comedy.
Fine. Listen up, buttercups. The Australian Defence Force welcomes you to this information session. In this seminar, you will learn about employment opportunities within the ADF. You will learn about life in the Defence Force, and you will feel safe to ask any questions within this relaxed and informal setting. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Top of the class. Now, when I say sound good, you all say, sir, yes, sir. Sound good? Sir, yes, sir. Sound good? Sir, yes, sir. Here at the Defence Force, we have a problem. You young people just aren't joining up like you used to. To remedy this, we've had to rethink our recruitment strategies. We've made a few changes, and I know you young people are just going to love them. Let me put it this way. Today, the Army is bussin'. Yo, Corporal, drop the heat. Hey, we get it. You don't want to get up at 6 a.m. and then fight in some lame war. No thanks, Boomer. War ain't for Sigmas. Nah, fam. We aren't trying to invade other countries. We're just there to rizz up the Indo-Pacific region. And anytime we do war, it's just for the vine. Sound good? Hop off, Queens. Here at the ADF, we're just like you young people. We're anxious a large amount of the time, have strong opinions about Joe Rogan, and never make phone calls unless absolutely necessary. 10 Hut Gucci Gang, we're in our recruiting era, and it's iconic. Slay. It's giving patriotic vibes. Scribbity toilet. By the way, how good are podcasts? I love that one where it's just like they're friends hanging out and talking about stuff. Stay woke. One day, I was out on patrol with my diverse squadron, and we were on the sesh chatting away about Jason Derulo and renting when we were surrounded by an armed insurgency group. Suddenly, they named us in the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Boy, was it grouse. Let's just say, she ate and left no crumbs. No cap. Focus up, meatheads. Fam, I have been hereby authorized by command to inform you that a career in the Defence Force will be a complete and unequivocal mood. Sound good?
This show was brought to you by McGarvey Beer. The story of McGarvey began long ago in the Wild West. At that time, the most notorious gunslinger was a man by the name of Billy Big Bang Booney. One fateful day, Billy Big Bang Booney rode into town and was shot dead by sheriff. 4 years later, sheriff found a rotten nashi pear in the bottom of his son's school bag. He bottled the fermented fluid, and McGarvey was born. McGarvey, beer for man.
Thank God that's over. We can get back to some real comedy, like this. Do you think dyslexia should be easier to spell? Here's a fun fact. The human lung has a surface area of 80 square meters. For reference, if you were to spread a human lung out across the MCG, you'd probably be asked to leave. I don't know. Growing up, my mum was very environmentally conscious, so she wouldn't allow any plastic to come into the house. Although she did make an exception for my aunt's face. This bit's true. When I was a kid, my father took me to see an open mic stand-up comedy show, and it left an indelible mark on me. I watched, transfixed, as comedian after comedian performed. It was in that moment that I knew that when I grew up, I wanted to go to therapy. But the therapy didn't take, and it's great to be here. Sometimes I wonder whether my grandfather on his deathbed had any regrets, or if he was too preoccupied by the fire. It's the other grandpa, by the way. The other day, my girlfriend and I were going for a walk. She said to me, "Joe, sometimes you can be too unemotional, too analytical. Sometimes you just don't act like a human being. So I quickly proved that I was human by identifying all the traffic lights. I love stand-up comedy because it's a great way to get to know people. Tonight, I look across the room at all of your faces and I think, nah. I'm kidding. Please like me. Look at what I'm doing. I could not be more desperate for your approval. I think this is fun. This is not fun. This is stressful as shit. And it's going well. Imagine if it wasn't going well. I don't know if you know this, North Melbourne, but this can go very badly. I don't have a good transition from this bit to the next joke, so we're just gonna hard cut. Back when I was at university, there was a murder on campus. But the uni told us that there was no cause for any further alarm and to go about classes as usual. 1 week later, there was a second murder. This one believed to be the work of a copycat killer. Immediately, classes were suspended and the university shut down for 4 months for an investigation. You see, for the university, one murder was one thing, but plagiarism? Here's a statistic. 75% of divorced people, when surveyed, cited the stress of raising children as a factor in their divorce. So, if you're a child of divorce, I want you to know. Good news. You were right. It really was your fault. Good instincts, North Melbourne. Well done.
Joe! Hello. I'm speaking to you from the tube of bathroom and kitchen sealant. I'm projecting my consciousness into the tube of bathroom and kitchen sealant.
Fuck's sake.
Joe, you crazy son of a bitch, you did it. The sketch comedy went down a treat. Everyone was saying stuff like, wow. In fact, everyone was so happy we decided to get rid of Neighbours.
Neighbours, the TV show or the phenomenon?
The phenomenon. Everyone's going to live a bit further apart now.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
But it's only made them hungrier. They say if you don't give them more sketch, South Australia is going to be destroyed next.
That's hardly a threat.
Please.
Welcome to voicemail. You have 34 new messages. Message received yesterday at 3. Message deleted. Message received. Message deleted. Message deleted. You have no new messages.
And some people think being a real estate agent is easy.
Joe?
Lorne Michaels, where are you speaking from this time?
I've accessed the theater's speaker system. I'm speaking through that.
That actually makes sense. We should have just said that from the start.
But things have gotten quite bad here.
Lorne, take cover.
Now that sketch comedy was excellent.
Thank you.
Like, really, really good. Bang up stuff. I'm smiling remembering that thing you said.
Lorne, please, this is a crisis.
I've got some things to sort out on my end, so how about you just tell some more jokes? But this time, why don't you give it a little skibbity baba?
Ooh, okay. Give it some of that shabba-dabba-doo.
Give it some of that skibbity baba beep dop.
Give it some of that ra-pa-pa-pum.
A little dee hop dip dop bop dop da zibbity bidip yum bidip bop dam.
Give it some of that honky-tonky.
A little dee hop dip dop bop dop da zibbity bidip yum bidip bop dam. Bop 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 beep dop boop bop deep dee dop 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 zing 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 ding ding chick 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 dop bop bop skibbity bidip bang boo 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 beep 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 bang boo but beep bop 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 skibbity bidip bam.
Okie dokie. I bumped into my grandma on the way here tonight. She said, "Do you have any cash on you?" I said yes. Now put the gun down. I have an identical twin, but he's in jail. My bad. I got a call from my friend. He said, "I've just seen your boss." I said, "Take the shot." I haven't been sleeping well recently, so I went and saw a sleep specialist. But halfway through our appointment, he collapsed, face down on his desk. I thought, Jesus Christ, this cat's good. For the last few weeks, my landlord and I have been engaged in a game of cat and mouse. Yeah, we're both big furries. Oh, yeah. I asked my girlfriend to marry me recently, but before I did, I approached her father. Unfortunately, he was already married. Oh dear. I used to work on a cruise ship. One night, I was having a conversation with my boss. Just me and him out the back of the ship at night, when all of a sudden he tripped and went over the railing and into the water. Man overboard! I thought to myself, I've recently started doing solo comedy shows like this one, and because of that, I've started to get reviews. And as I'm sure you can imagine, that's something that has taken a little bit of getting used to. This is a review I got. I'd like to share it with you now. Joe began the show with a series of short, one-liner style jokes. While initially somewhat amusing, this quickly became repetitive. And as the jokes persisted, tiresome. An hour went by, then another, then another. After 3 hours of jokes, I politely suggested that Joe might like to stop the performance, but he refused, saying that he hadn't even gotten to his character stuff yet. What's that? My husband asked. Joe didn't reply and just stared at my husband as if he was stupid. The nightmare continued. We pleaded with Joe to stop saying one-liners and let us go home. Again, he refused, saying that we really needed to see his character stuff. He elaborated by saying that essentially he sees himself as a character comedian who does one-liners, as opposed to a one-liner comedian who does characters. What the fuck does that mean? I asked. It's late. My husband added, it's really late. Joe said, it's this conversation that's what's making it take so long. We said, please, it's 3 a.m. Character time, said Joe, rummaging through a bag of props. Seeing an opportunity, we ran. We made it to our car, but Joe gave chase. He jumped in front of our car, held up a squeegee, and yelled, "Hi, I'm window washer Wayne." Move, Joe, I said. Joe? Who's Joe? Said Joe. I'm window washer Mike. I mean Wayne. And I love to wash windows. The only problem is, I'm afraid of heights. Joe then began to wave his arms around as if he was dizzy. However, this movement appeared to cause him to lose his balance for real, and he fell over. We got out of our car and ran. Guys, it's me, Joe said in pursuit. I was just doing some character stuff. Because essentially, I'm a one-liner comedian who does characters, as opposed to a character comedian who does one-liners. This was the opposite of what he claimed earlier, although thankfully his voice faded away into the distance. It was now 5 a.m, so we found a nearby hostel and stayed there for what little of the night remained. As we lay in bed, shaking, we could hear Joe prowling the street outside, asking passerbys, as window washer Wayne, if they knew of any windows that needed washing, but only if they were at ground level. After a restless few hours, we cautiously headed back, retrieved our car, and agreed to never speak of this hell ever again. That said, at least he didn't slash our tires like Akmal did. 2 stars. By the way, I'm not actually reading. I do know my lines. This is just a ransom note I found. I'll probably pass that on at some point, hey.
Hey, Knackers.
Lawn bowls?
Good news. We have all agreed to lay down our weapons under one condition. We need to see some puppetry.
Puppetry?
Yes, puppetry. Where you put one thing on your hand and make it look like it's talking.
I thought that was just a myth.
It is. It has never been done before.
Lorne, you must understand. What you are asking, it is simply not possible.
Though the task may be monumental. Hitherto, no one has ever had the self-starting, bootstrapping, get up and go to lock in and get it done. Which is why I turn to you, the urban bathroom expert.
I think you might have the wrong show there, champ.
What's your show called?
A Modern Professional's Guide to Side Saddle Jousting.
Why?
I thought it'd be funny to call the show that and then never mention side saddle jousting.
That's funny, I guess.
Not really, but it was locked in months ago. So, this puppet sketch, what should I do?
How about it's a puppet of Grant Denyer? And he's at a supermarket. Ha ha ha. Shopping.
Shopping is pretty funny.
It's good to laugh. Grenade!
Lorne! Ah, damn it. It's dead. That's a bummer.
This show was brought to you by McGarvey Beer. The story of McGarvey began long ago in an active volcano, where it was discovered by a brave team of sports scientists and professional bodybuilders. They found the can to be heavy, ideal for hammer curls and tricep extensions. After a quick pump, they also discovered McGarvey was delicious. Furthermore, we've listened to your feedback, and now McGarvey contains less goat and more barbiturates. And that's not all. Each can of McGarvey comes with its very own forklift license. McGarvey. Beer, man. Beer.
Hey kids, I'm Healthy Yarrell. I travel from school to school to teach kids how to get healthy. Listen kiddos, let me give it to you straight. I used to be out on the street, scoring meth. But then I came in here. You're probably wondering why I'm called Healthy Yarrell and not Healthy Harold like the real giraffe. That's because I pasted this sketch into ChatGPT and I asked if performing it had legal risk, and it said, maybe. Yarrell's just gonna get healthy real quick. You know, children, being healthy is easy, and that's thanks to my good friend, Trevor. He offers free delivery and always has the best shit. And for you kids, the first score is free. Man, I'm feeling healthy. I'm a goddamn genius. I should go on Slumdog Millionaire and correctly answer all the questions about protein. Natty or not, here I come. Time to get healthy. Behold me, young ones, for the spirit of the All-Father calls to me by name, and that name is King. Revere me, children. The Lord walks among us and he lives in a van. Death to apostates. But first, time to get healthy. Interesting. It seems I have become so healthy, I no longer occupy a physical form. Healthy, yes, healthy Yarald. That's what they used to call me. And I craved power. Power and amphetamines. Peculiar, aren't they? Our earthly appetites. You see, I have transcended. Oh, damn, they have it here too.
Curious. It appears I am so healthy, I have become time and space itself. I am the nose of God. And I must rap.
Farewell, sweet children, for I am become health, destroyer of
Nowadays, a lot of people think that owning a house is impossible. But I'm here to tell you that if you keep your head down and keep working, eventually your parents will die. I'm a pilot. This bit's true. I'm a pilot. For work, I fly commercial flights for Jetstar. And when I became a pilot, I stopped going out and drinking on the weekends. I stopped getting high with my friends. I stopped all of that. Because basically, when I became a pilot, I became acutely aware that I do enough of that shit at work. My mum says that I should stop paying attention to conspiracy theories because they're bad for my mental health. And she has a point. Then again, I'm not sure I want to be taking any advice from the woman who whacked JFK. No, I said I wasn't going to talk to anyone. You know you're making that very difficult. I want to honor the promise, but my God. The shoes are off, the feet are on the stage, and then every toe has a little sock separate to the rest of the sock. And I'm supposed to talk about JFK. Dear God. Remember how I said this was stressful? That doesn't help. I caught up with a friend recently. She said to me, I've been house sitting for Alex and Michelle, and they get home tonight, and I'm concerned. I said, what's wrong? She said, their houseplant has died. I said, oh, that's easy. Just get another plant and don't tell them. She said, they'll be able to tell the difference. I said, no, they won't. She said, how can you be so sure? I said, I used to babysit for them. I try and be a responsible father. I try and be responsible. The other day, we're out to dinner, and my 4-year-old son was with us. I ordered a beer. He said, Dad, can I have a beer too? I said, absolutely not. You're gonna have to drive. I was talking to a guy at a party. I said, what do you do? He said, I'm a real estate agent. I said, I'm sorry. I think you'll find it's pronounced cunt. This next joke triggered the ever-loving fuck out of some boomers on the internet. I didn't go to the Anzac Day dawn service this year. Instead, for Anzac Day, I went to the beach with some friends and got drunk. And while we were doing this guy comes up to us and starts yelling at us, saying that we are being disrespectful by drinking on the beach on Anzac Day. I said to him, I'm sorry, sir, but I disagree. If you ask me, what better way is there to celebrate the Anzac story than by getting wasted on a coastline? I hope my performance tonight has been memorable. After all, this is my alibi.
Good one.
Lorne, you're alive.
Thanks to your puppetry, everyone stopped fighting long enough to bang out a peace treaty. Before it's ratified, however, we need just one more sketch. I fear I must ask the impossible of you once more. The next sketch must be the best sketch that anyone has ever done. Ever.
But Lorne, I'm a bit tired.
You're the people's only hope.
Well, in that case, let's fucking go.
Get after it, son.
When it comes to safe firearm handling, here's some basics. Rule 1, treat every gun as if it's loaded. Rule 2, always point guns in a safe direction. Rule 3, store firearms and ammunition safely. In this 12-part course, I will be teaching you all of the principles and practices of gun safety. Hi, I'm Alec Baldwin. And this is my masterclass.
Joe, goddammit, you did it, goddammit. That was the greatest sketch anyone has ever done. Not to mention a bang-on Baldwin impression. As such, the committee has agreed to peace on Earth now and forever. The world is now saved.
No worries.
We have arranged a reward for you. Please look inside the mystery box.
Oh, wow. I wonder what it is. Hang on. The mystery box. It's empty. Maybe the real prize here isn't some material object. No. Maybe the real treasure is the friends we've made. Oh, never mind. There it is. It's a packet of cloves. Thanks, Lorne. It's, yeah. I'm just a bit worried that that's not quite a strong enough joke to end this show on. I feel like to end this show, I need something better, something really, really funny.
Hey everyone, look at me. I'm Grant Denyer and I'm at a supermarket.
Shopping.